So we can all agree on who started the trend of sights having guns built into them, right? By the way, I liked Ruby way more when it was in the school setting. Fight me in the comments section about it after the video. The leader of Mockingbird and the final limited S-rank agent, Hugo Vlad, was added to Zenless Zone Zero in version 1.7 right before the big jump to version 2. And while I overall enjoyed Hugo's time in the spotlight across 1.6 and 1.7, despite some gripes I had with how some parts of his story was written in the latter half of 1.7, I made the decision not to pull for him at the time. Looking back on that decision now, while I occasionally think about if I should have pulled for him, I'm reminded of the exact reason why I never did every time. Hugo is an ice attack agent that takes the dynamic of attack agent hypercarry teams with a stun agent to its next logical extreme by having a kit designed around using EX special attacks to consume the remaining duration of an enemy's stun window for massive damage. And that's about it. There's like one more thing about his kit where he can fire off a mid-range projectile at the end of his combo or as part of a dodge counter, but that's really it. Because of this, Hugo's playstyle involves you triggering a stun on enemies as early as possible, and to do so, you're gonna want to take your team of an attack stun agent combo and slap a second stun agent in that team. There's no real variance in how you can play him, as his core passive gives Hugo massive crit buffs when performing a chain attack or triggering a stun, and he straight up gets a passive increase to his attack when his team is filled out with 2 stun agents. The only time where Hugo might have a change up in his playstyle is all the way at Mindscape 4, where his ranged attacks shred 12% of an enemy's ice resistance for 15 seconds. And even then, that's debatable when we get onto his teammates later. And Mindscape 6, where ranged attacks will also trigger his enhanced state as well, and Totalize can be triggered outside of an enemy's stun window. Not even his signature W engine, Myriad Eclipse, offers anything beyond more damage for Hugo. With his kit out of the way, it's Ellen. Ellen's the reason why I won't pull Hugo. I made it clear in the thumbnail and the title already. I don't need to blue balls you any longer on this. As Ellen Joe and Hugo are both attack agents with ice elemental damage, they are actively competing for use cases in endgame content against one another. Dare I say, more so than Miyabi, as at least she is separated by being an anomaly agent and therefore will have different viable teammate options. Assuming you're not using mono ice teams, but I don't even know how those are meant to be played anyway, so let's not get too distracted on this one any longer. Let's talk for a second about opportunity cost. In gacha games, opportunity cost typically refers to how a player makes 2 simultaneous decisions when putting high-value teammates or weapons on one team over another, or when making investment decisions to build one character and leaving another out to dry. If I stick Astra Yao on one team to help them perform better, my opportunity cost is that I cannot use Astra Yao on a different team and need to carefully consider which team needs her more and which team can make do with a viable alternative. If I have both a Nicole and Arena with incomplete builds and choose one to finish first over another, I am making an opportunity cost to spend my resources towards building one character over another. In this regard, Ellen Joe and Hugo are a severe case of opportunity cost, where choosing one will cannibalize the other due to the aforementioned ice element coverage. But more importantly, they're viable teammate options. Both Lycon and Lighter are not only some of the best stun agents in the game, but both also have bonus effects that greatly improve ice elemental damage. They also both have unique effects for stun windows, with Lycon increasing the stun damage multiplier, and Lighter adding an additional 3 seconds to their stun duration, both of which have direct interactions with Hugo's Totalize mechanic. These 2 characters are so incredibly valuable to Hugo that to go without them is almost non-negotiable. He just loses way too much when attempting to pair him with an alternative. As a diehard L and Joe main, this leaves me at a crossroads, as pulling for a limited S-rank agent like Hugo would completely invalidate all the investment I've put towards L and Joe, and I have no intention of doing that whatsoever. I've said before in the past that the next character I'm looking to pull is Lighter on another rerun. But until then, or even after I pull Lighter, Ellen still offers me a greater level of flexibility in team compositions than Hugo, as I can use Lycon just fine. And when I do eventually get Lighter, Lycon can still be a backup for my Ellen in instances where I may want to use Lighter on someone else, like Soldier 11, for example. And while on that note, the leader of Mockingbird really does have some tough competition when it comes to the teammates he's asking for from other characters. Moving beyond everyone's favorite Shark Maid for a second, Hugo also has to compete with Evelyn for Lighter as well, a fire attack agent with no real competition in her element that's on the same power level as Hugo, and in some cases is even stronger than him too. Comparatively, Hugo's ice element means he has to contend with both Ellen and Miyabi, whom released much earlier than him, for players to have invested in and have more flexible team comps. Also, Evelyn is just hot as fuck. At the end of the day, while I really like morally dubious characters in Hoyoverse games such as Genshin Impact's Tartaglia, Honkai Star Rail's Aventurine, and now Zenless Zone Zero's Hugo Vlad, I cannot bring myself to pull for an S-rank agent when the cost in doing so includes the very character that drew me into playing Zenless Zone Zero in the first place. It pains me to do so for an interesting and nuanced character like Hugo, but the fact of the matter is, sharply dressed vampires come and go. But this is the one game where I get to savor playing as a teenage shark maid girl with oversized hedge trimmers. Ah well, I'm sure he's at least happy I pulled his surrogate sister. Shut up, Vivian! And with that, I have said all I really wanted to about why I will probably never pull for Hugo in Zenless Zone Zero. There's always the possibility that new characters will eventually come out to widen the possible teammate options for both Ellen and Hugo, but based on the current trajectory with banner pairings like Yi Zhuan and Jufufu, or the upcoming Seed and Orphean Mangus, I doubt we'll see characters to shake up older roster members for a while. And by the time new characters do eventually come out for said older characters, who's to say someone completely new won't be announced that'll make me forget all about Mockingbird's theatrical leader? Only time will really tell with this one. But until then, this has been Arikado Zodan, and I'm clocking out.